states the appearances are as before.
I confirm, Advocate MD Tefu, the status quo remains as far as the representation is concerned, Your Lordship.
As the court pleases, my lord, the appearances are as before in respect of accused number 5, my lord.
Mr. Musia, you still under oath?
Confirmed, my lord.
As the court pleases. My lord, yesterday we adjourned, my lord, when I said I will ask with the leave of the court to refer this court to the inference that I made regarding the status of the people who were inside the house, my lord. My lord, the statement as per 117 that was read yesterday, my lord. Paragraph 12, my lord, of that statement. Statement 117. Can you open it for us? (117). Second part, my lord, of paragraph 12. Paragraph 12, the one that starts with, I didn't see that. Oh, let's wait.
He doesn't have 117. He only has 118 and 119.
Okay. My lord, can I continue?
Yes.
Thank you, my lord. My lord, in that paragraph 13, but does the witness have the statement?
No, my lord.
Yes.
Oh, my lord, I'm just waiting for my learned friend to borrow me the statement so that the witness can be able to follow. I thought they would be able to open it from the screen, my lord. My apologies.
My lord, maybe we can return to that aspect at the later stage if my learned friend would like to perhaps canvass another issue.
Okay, can I just read it, my lord, for the sake of progress? The witness, I hopefully will be able to understand the paragraph. It's not long, my lord.
Yes.
Thank you. Paragraph 13 of the statement 117 reads as follows. The reason I went into the house, it's because I wanted to see what happened in the house.
Lebaka la hore ke kene ka hare ho ntlo ko bane ne ke batla ho bona hore ho etsahalang ka hare ho ntlo.
When we were in the house, I saw water on the floor.
Ha ke re kena ka hare ho ntlo ka bona metsi fatshe ka hare ho ntlo.
Umfakazi ufundeka kwistatimende so umfakazi othize othi ngafuna-ke noma ukuthi ngingene ngaphakathi endlini ngenhloso ukuthi ngiboneke ukuthi kwenzakalani. Uma sesingena sathola kunamanzi
I was amazed to see water on the floor where I was told somebody was shot in the house.
Ya ba ke makatswa ko ho bona metsi fatshe ka tlung mo eleng ka ntlung e hothong hona le motho a thuntsweng ka hare ho yona.
Bangimangaza-ke ukubona amanzi phansi la ngangitshelwe khona ukuthi kuleyo ndlu-ke kwadutshuka umuntu.
And then paragraph 15 of the same statement. Maggie Phiri started to pick up the empties from the floor. I asked her why she was tidying up before the police could arrive at the scene. Maggie responded that she doesn't want the police to see that people who were inside the house were drinking.
Ya ba
Close quote, my lord, there.
paragraph 15 ha itswella pele ere ya ba ke bona mabotlolo a tletse fatshe ka hare ho ntlo. Mary Phiri a qalella ho thona ka mabotlolo ao ana a le fatshe. Ya ba ha ke mmotsa hobaneng a thona ka mabotlolo ao pele seponesa se fihla, a nkaraba ka hore batho ba ne ba le ka hare ho ntlo ba ne ba nwa jwale ha batle hore maponesa a hlokomele seo.
Siqhubeka-ke le statement ngokuthi ke wase eqala-ke uMaggie Phiri ngokuthi axosheke amabhodlela aye phansi otshwala. Mangimbuza-ke ukuthi waxoshelani, washo ukuthi akafuni ukuthi uma ngabe amaphoyisa efika abone ukuthi abantu babengaphakathi endlini babephuza.
So, Mr. Mosia, it is because of this paragraph that I'm asking the following questions to you.
Are ke potso tse latelang o di botsa a di tshitleile tlasa paragraph ya qetang ho e bala.
Were there any tests done to see or to check if the people who were inside the house when the shooting incident took place were under intoxication of liquor?
Na ho ile ho etsa diteko tse itseng ho batho ba ne ba le ka hare ho ntlo hore batle letle le kgone ho fihlela ho bona hore na ba ne ba nwele jwala ka nako ya ketsahalo ya ho thungwa ha motho,
Or to see if they were under the influence of liquor, Mr. Mosia? That's
ho
what I'm
bona
trying
hore
to-
na batho ba ne ba le ka tlasa tshusumetso ya nnotahi.
Tjhe, ha di a ka tsankiwa diteko.
No tests were done to those people who were inside the house.
Labo bantu abengaphakathi-ke endlini abazange-ke noma kwenza uphenyo ubona-ke noma babhekwe-ke ukuthi babe phansi kwesiphi yini isimo noma ukuthi babephuzile noma bedakiwe yini.
And earlier on in your evidence, Mr. Mosia, you told this court that when you arrived, there were other police officers who were busy interviewing people inside the house.
Wa hopola bopaking ba hao hlalositse hore ha wena o fihla sebakeng sa ketsahalo ho ne ho se ho na le maponesa a mang a leng hore a ne a santse a interviewa batho ba ne ba le ka hare ho ntlo.
Ke nnete morena.
That is correct.
Uyiqinisa nokuthi-ke ngafika ekhona amanye amaphoyisa enza-ke inhlolo khona kulabo babengaphakathi endlini.
And the police, those police were interviewing witnesses, I call them witnesses now. They were interviewing those witnesses whose state of sobriety had not been tested.
Jwale maponesa ho tla bolela hore ne ba interviewa batho ba ileng hore ha ba ke ba hlolwa pele ba hore ba kapa ba hlahlojwa ho bona hore na ha ba ka tlasa tshusumetso ya nnatahi na ho jwalo.
Ai seo nke ka se araba ya pele.
I cannot be in a position to answer on to give answer on that further.
Angeke ngikwazi-ke ukuthi ngiphendule ngesimo sabo ukuthi babe kusiphi isimo nkathi-ke kwenziwa ama-interview nabo.
You know why the reason you cannot be able to answer this? It's because this is forensic. This is part of forensic investigations which you did not have qualifications of it. Is that so?
A re lebaka la hore ebe o hloleha ho mo fa karabo e maleba ko bane seo ine ile mosebetsi wa ba forensic jwale ka hobane thupello e ona le yona ha ya lekana o ka etsa mosebetsi o ke ka ho o hloleile ho etsa mosebetsi o makgethe.
Ke tla kopa ho hlalosa hanyane hore forensic investigation e broad.
I would like to explain that forensic on its own is very broad.
And nna ka mahanyo ya ka le forensic jwalo ka se ke tlhalositse ke criminalistic expert le ha ke ile ka tsibasahala ka tsela e seng yona ka pela lekgotla.
And I would like to put to the attention of this court that I am a criminalistic expert, even though I was introduced incorrectly in this court.
Yeah, so now you're changing the qualification, you're changing your status now, Mr. Musi. You're telling this court that you gave wrong information in your examination in chief. Now we are correcting your status now. Is that what you're saying?
Ho bolela hore wena he o fane ka bopaki bo seng ba nnete pela lekgotla jwalo batla ho fetola haholo jwang ka dithupello tsa hao.
Ke tlhalosa hore forensic investigation nna lengolo le ke nang le lona mosebetsi ke criminalistic expert in forensics.
I was actually responding on the fact of forensic expert. The qualification or the statement, the certificate that I have is for criminalistic expert in forensic.
Engikushoyo ke noma ngichazela lenkantolo ukuthi indlela ke engithuke ngayo kule nkantolo ukuthi bengasiyona ke ngoba mina ke ngokwesitifiketi enginaso ungoti wezobulelesi lokwathi ke criminalistic expert kuzona ke as a forensic.
As a criminalist forensic expert, did you check the level of blood from the people, from a person who is said to have removed the deceased from the crime scene, drove the deceased to the hospital? Did you check the level of blood alcohol from that person as a criminalist expert now?
Jwale ka setsebi se batsi ho tsa dithupello tsa criminalistic na o ile wa etsa diteko tsa madi ho hlola hore motho eo o hotheng o nkile mofu a mo isa sepetlele ona a se ka tlasa tshusumetso ya nnotahi.
Tjhe seo se ka hodima matla aka jwalo ka se kile ka hlalosa hore a se mosebetsi wa ka.
That is above my authority, as I've already alluded to the fact that it was not my duty.
Ukuthi ke ngibheka isimo salowo ahambisa umufu emisa esibhedlele bengishilo ke ngaphambilini ukuthi loyo ke kungasiwona umsebenzi wami.
But you are lying, Mr. Musia. You have just told this court you're a criminalist expert. Criminalist expert. But you don't know if the car, there was the driver who removed, number one. It's an offense to remove a person who was shot from the crime scene. You know that better. And you did not check the state of sobriety of the person who removed the deceased from the crime scene. The person who moved away the deceased at the place wherein he could have received medical attention immediately. There was an offense on its own.
Hasinete e we buang ntate Musia. Hobane o sentse o qetha ho hlalosetsa lekgotla lena hore wena o sitsebi se batsi ho tsa criminalistic. Jwale he ha motho a tlosa motho a thuntsweng sebakeng sa ketsahalo ho le hong fela ke tlolo ya molao. Jwale ebe o hloleha hore o lekole o hlahlube motho o hore na selekanyetso sa jwala sene se le teng mading a hae ka hore o etse teko tseo tsa madi ho yena.
As a court, please, my lord, can my learned friend perhaps disclose what offense is being committed when a person is being taken for medical assistance after being shot?
My lord, may I ask my lord not to respond to that? My lord, my line of cross-examination is to the effect that the medical attention ought to have been summoned from the crime scene.
But you are asking him to respond to
Yes.
commission of an offense without specifying the offense. There's a myriad of offenses that may come to mind. And if you wish to ask along the lines of
question.
an offense committed.
My Lord, can I just rephrase in respect of that portion
Okay.
of the sentence?
Yes.
To say as a criminalist expert, did you check the level of intoxication or the influence of intoxication from the person who removed the deceased from the crime scene?
Jwalo ka setsebi tse batsi ho tsa criminologistic na o ile wa etsa diteko tsa madi ho motho ya tlositseng setopo sebakeng sa ketsahalo bakeng sa ho bona hore na o na le ka tlasa tshusumetso ya nnotahi?
Chair, jwale ka se ke hlalositse ka pela lekgotla le hlomphehileng hore ke na le mosebetsi e ko o etsang ke hlalositse haholo ho pota le crime scene kona mosebetsi e ko o shebang haholo hore ke tlhokomele crime scene tse ding tsa dintho tse ka thoko.
Actually, you are repeating that question.
Sorry, my Lord.
You are repeating that question.
The question for removing,
No, that he did not check the alcohol level of the person who removed the deceased and
The-
took him to hospital.
I think, my Lord, I was distracted by the objection. The,
Okay. All right, let's proceed.
okay. So, Mr. Mosia, we accept that no investigation was done from the person who removed the deceased from the crime scene. For the sake of progress, my Lord, can you just repeat it like that? Thank you. ma'am.
Okay.
Na re ka nka hore ha wa ka ha etsa ditlhatlhobo le diteko tse itseng ho motho eo a neng a nka setopo a se tlosa sebakeng sa ketsahalo?
Ho jwalo morena.
That's correct.
Siqiniseka ukuthi lo owahambisa umufike emusa esibhedlela isimo sakheke asizange sibhekwe ukuthi ayikusiphi isimo uma ngabe wayephuzile.
Hey, Mr. Mosia, now that the deceased, you removed that you received that information now at the crime scene, that the deceased had been removed by one person who had been present when the shooting incident took place. Okay? Do you understand me?
Ha re e tsamaye ka yona ka tsela e latelang tate Mosia. O fumana information mohlala o ereng mofu o tlositswe sebakeng sa ketsahalo mokapa motho ya thuntsweng o tlositswe sebakeng sa thuntseditsweng ho tsona.
Do you hear?
Ho jwalo morena.
Yes, I
Did you then go to the hospital now to see the condition of the deceased body inside the hospital after he had been removed by a person whose state of sobriety had not been tested or was compromised, my Lord, if I may put it like that? With your respect, ma'am.
na jwale he o ile wa ya sepetlele hore o lo sheba o lekole maemo a motho yo a thuntsweng sepetlele mane hore ke a feng ka morao hore a sa tlositswe sebakeng seo a thuntsitsweng ho sona ke motho o eleng hore ha ka etswa le diteko ho bona hore o na le seemong se feng.
Ke tshepa hore task team ya crime scene management from Johannesburg hai fihla e nthola ketsahalong eo ya sebakeng seo sa ketsahalo. Ke se ke hlalositse hore ke ne ke ba emetse ka lebaka la hore re to tswela pele ka crime scene kaofela ra arola mosebetsi ka nka karolo ya di-exhibit a ba a tswela pele ka dinepe ka kakaretso ho ya fihla sepetlele morena kapa a ke sa tsebeng ke sepetlele kapa ke mortuary.
I already testified that I had to wait for Gauteng crime management task team to arrive so that we can all continue with investigations at the scene and divide duties as I would be continue with the collecting evidence and the others will then be taking photos and may follow up also on the person who was shot, whether the person was in the hospital or in the mortuary.
Bese ngicacisile noma ngishilo ke ngaphambilini ukuthi ngase ngilindeleke i-task team ebuye eJohannesburg ukuthi sizoqhubeka ke nophenyo futhi ke sibe sesinikezana ke imisebenzi eyahlukene kuleyo misebenzi ke ukuthi sicoshe nobufakazi obukhona noma obutholakalayo abanye bahambeke baye esibhedlela noma emakhazeni ke la umufi wayeleli khona.
Mr. Mosi, sorry. Can I proceed, madam? Thank you. Mr. Mosia, understand this. Let us not shift the blame now to the superiors, the task team. I'm talking about you at the crime scene before the arrival of the task team. And after receiving information in the investigation that you conducted at the crime scene first time when you arrived, and you received information that the body of the deceased was removed by someone else to the hospital. So I am asking that upon receiving that information, you, Mr. Mosia, not the task team, you at the crime scene, upon receiving that information, did you make a follow-up? Did you go to hospital to check what was the condition of the body of the deceased there in hospital?
Ntate Mosia a re o kopa fela hore o tlo arabele potso ya hae ka nnete le ka botshepehi o tlohele he ho shifta blame o supa monwana ho ba o ka medical ka ho task team. Wena jwalo ka mofuputsi wa case o ile wa fihla sebakeng sa ketsahalo ene ko wena fihlileng pele yaba o fuwa information ya hore mofu o thuntseditswe ka o thunyeditswe mona, and then ibile o tlositswe hape mo a thunyeditsweng teng a iswa sepetlele. O ile wa etsa boikgathatso bo ba hore o tle o kgone ho bona ke mang a mo sutisitseng sebakeng sa ketsahalo, maemo a motho a mo tlositseng sebakeng sa ketsahalo ke afeng, le hore mofu yena ka bo yena o maemong afeng.
Che anke ka ho hetsa le ha se ke hlalositse ka makgetlo ka pela lekgotla.
No, I did not do it as I've already been repeating this before this court.
Nanjengoba bese ngishilo ngaphambilini ukuthi angizange ngikwenzeke ukuthi ngibheke isimo salo owahambisa umufi futhi noma ngihambeke ngiyobheka ke umufi ukuthi ukusiphi isimo yena ke esibhedlela.
Thank you, Mr. Mosia. That's the answer I was looking for. I don't want the reason. I want you to give answer if you did do that or you did not. That's all I want from you.
A re kopa fela hore ha o botsa potso ska mo fa mabaka. Araba potso ebe re tswela pele.
Okay. Then let's go back to your qualification, Mr. Mosia. You remember yesterday where we ended with your qualifications.
Maobane wa hopola o ile a kopa tsa dithupello le dithuteho tsa hao.
And the reason why I keep on going back to your qualification, Mr. Mosia, because I want to see the level of competence and capabilities of you at the crime scene. Because there are so many things that you did not do at the crime scene waiting for the task team.
A re o tla nne a boela hape a botsa dipotso a khutlela morao. Ibile a batla le ho tseba ha batsi ka dithupello le dithuteho tsa hao. Lebaka ko hobane hona le ntho tse ngata tse wena jwalo ka setsebi o ile wa ska wa di etsa sebakeng sa ketsahalo.
Sizobuyela ke kuyifundo owazenza noma wayiphothula ke imbangela nezathu sokuthi senze lokho ingoba ke kuningi kakhulu ongazange ukwenze kwakufanele ukuthi ukwenzile kwindawo yesehlakalo.
Uqala mrena.
I understand.
You informed this court that you've got a BTech diploma. Is it a diploma? BTech?
O itse o na le BTech ke diploma kapa ke eng?
Ke degree mrena.
Is a degree?
Okay. Before you get a BTech, normally you would have received a so-called junior diploma, my lord. It's a first diploma before doing a BTech. Am I correct?
O ka fumana degree how ya BTech re nka hore hona le thupello o bileng le yona wa fumana certificate sa yona pele o ka nyolohela hodimo ka dithuto.
Ho jwalo ke ile ka compiler recognition of prior learning with UNISA?
Yes, I did compile a recognition of prior learning with UNISA.
Mo kileng ka fuwa direct
Mr. Musia,
access to BTech.
Can I just correct this? My question was that, is it correct that you would have received a junior or a first diploma before receiving a BTech? Is that correct? It's what you said.
Bujwalo Mrena.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
Show me the diploma that you
Eka
received
diploma
before
e
doing a BTech.
E wile wa ifumana pele o ka fumana BTech.
Ke ne ke leka ho hlalosa seo Mrena.
I was
Ha jwale.
stopped while I was trying to explain that.
Ke hlalosa hore ke la ka
I don't want you to explain. Show me.
That's a good please, my lord. Can the witness explain? He's trying to explain that he was exempted from doing a diploma and he's not given that opportunity. Can you just explain as to how he managed to enroll for a BTech now?
My apologies, my lord.
You're not waiting for his answers.
My apologies, my lord. Tell us the diploma, Mr. Musia.
Ho tlile hlalosa ho ya pele hore o fumane BTech.
ke ile ka dumellwa a direct access to BTech ka mora hore ke thole RPL recognition of prior learning with UNISA ka 2015.
In 2015, after I received a recognition of prior learning with UNISA, I was then allowed to do my BTech.
And ka ho akia tshwara lengolo la
But there
recognition of BTech
Sorry, Mr. Musia.
recognition of prior learning ha ke na yona mo ho di certificate tsa ka.
But unfortunately, in my certificate or the certificate that I brought with, I don't have that letter of recognition of prior learning.
Okwenzekako ukuthi ngo-2015 ngathola-ke lokho abakubiza ngokuthi i-RPL e-UNISA. Yona-ke noma emuva kokuthi ngithole yona-ke yona-ke bangivumela ukuthi-ke ngingase ngindlula-ke kwi-diploma kodwa ngiye kuyona-ke i-BTech noma kwi-degree yayo-ke i-BTech.
Okay. So, in other words, Mr. Musia, if I'm getting you correctly, you were exempted from doing a diploma.
Ho bolela hore o ile wa fitisetswa pele o ske wa etsa wa tlodiswa ho etseng diploma.
Ke sa tsebeng hore hantle ho latelisiswa dintho jwang ho ya ka moo ba sebetsang teng UNISA.
With lack of knowledge as to how they conduct their processes in UNISA.
Yeah, I don't want you to confuse us. You were exempted because of the recognition of prior learning. Is that what you said?
Ho jwalo mo.
Ha re se ra ferekana fela re akere hore ba ile ba o fitisa ka mora hore ba fumane recognition of prior learning.
And as a result of that, you were exempted, and then they just allowed you to go through to register for BTech.
Ka lebaka leo ke ka ho ba ile ba o fitisetsa hore o ka nna wa tswela pele ka wa registerela BTech.
Ho jwalo Mrena.
That is correct.
Kunjalo ukuthi nanjengoba ngishilo ukuthi ngale RPL engayithola ngo-2015 iyona-ke abase bethatha isinqumo-ke ngayo ukuthi emuva ukuthi ngithole yona-ke ngingabisa yela-ke yona-ke i-diploma kodwa ngiye kwi-BTech.
And the prior learning qualifications that you were exempted based on, from which institution had you received those prior qualifications from?
Jwale he dithupello kapa dithuteo tsa prior learning tse leng hore di ile tsa o etsa hore o be exempted o fitisetswe pele ke o di fumane le institution efe?
University of South Africa.
With the University of South Africa.
Leyifundo-ke lezi engayiphothula noma engazenza-ke lezi ze-RPL ngo-2015 ezabangela ukuthi bangivumeleke ukuthi ngiye kuyona-ke i-BTech ngayithole e-UNISA.
Okay. Now we want to give credits to that prior learning. What was the duration? Duration of study for the prior learning qualification
O
that
ile-
made you to be exempted from doing a diploma.
O nkile nako e kae o ithuta ho yona he prior learning e ileng ya o etsa hore o fetisetswe pele?
ka kgola ka tlase ho dikgwedi tse tsheletseng.
It was under 6 months.
Lezo ifunda ke lezi eze-RPL zango 2015 kwaku 6 months.
Okay. And then how long in BTEC? What was the duration of study for BTEC?
BTEC yona o nkile nako e kae o ntso o e balla?
Ke nkile dilemo tse 3.
It took me 3 years.
Yona ke i-BTech yangithatha iminyaka emithathu.
Okay. How long?
From 20,
No, sorry. Can I just rephrase? Did it take you 3 years, or you were supposed to do it in 1 year or in 3 years to complete it?
Yona BTEC ine e tlameha hore o e badile lemo tse 3 kapa selemo, kapa yona ka bo yona ine e lekanyeditswe lemo tse kae?
ke nahana hore ne le dilemo tse 3.
The degree on itself is a 3-year degree.
Yona ke noma lezi ke ifundo ze-BTech zona ke start iminyaka emithathu.
And you completed on time?
Wa e qeta ka nako eo ya lemo tseo tse 3 kapa
Ke qetile lemo se latelang 2019.
ha re tsebo e qadile neng ntate? O inkile lemo tse kae?
Ke nkile dilemo tse 3 ka tlameha ho ngola subject ya ho qetela selemo se latelang ka February. E kileng ka e passa he ka tlo graduate 2019 ka di 1 tsa October.
I studied it for the duration of 3 years, but the graduation and the final exam were done in 2019, the exam in February and the graduation,
2019
October. The graduation was in October.
Ngafunda ke nami leyo minyaka mithathu ke i-BTech ebekele yona ke ukuthola ke noma ukuphothula kwezifundo ngo February 2019 kwase kuthi ke i-graduation ke yona ke yango October 2019.
And when did you start it?
O qadile ho balla degree ena lemo sefe?
2016 January.
I started in January 2016.
Ngayiqala ke ngoJanuary ka 2016.
Okay. Now you see, Mr. Mosia, this degree, you started it after the date of the incident in this case. Am I correct?
Wa hlokomela he hore le yona le tsona dithuto tse o di entse ka mora ho ketsahalo e.
Ho jwalo morena.
That is correct.
Kuyiqiniswa ukuthi izifundo zona ngazenza emuva kwalesehlakalo.
So at the time when you attended the crime scene, you had not acquired the skills.
Ho bolela hore ka nako o no ya kana sebakeng sa ketsahalo e o no soka o fumana dithuto le thupello e batsi ka
Preferred under this degree.
haholo
BTech.
tse ka tlasa thupello e ya BTech degree.
Ho jwalo morena.
Okay.
That is correct.
Kuyiqiniswa ukuthi inkathi kwenzeka isehlakalo lesike ikhono lelike ela kule degree noma lokho engakufundisa la kule degree ngangakabi nako.
Okay. And then let's go back to the internal courses that you received in 2013. Am I correct?
Akere o bile le di internal courses tse leng hore o ile wa di tsamaya.
We are done with BTech now. Then we are moving on to the criminalist expert that was completed in 2013. Am I correct?
Re ya ho mane ho criminalistic expert e o entseng ka 2013.
Ho jwalo morena.
That is correct.
So, when had you started that criminalist expert? Is it a course? Is it a degree? What is it?
Criminalist expert ke eng ke course kapa ke eng hantle ke training?
Ke training e ke qadileng 2008 ka July Kadi 7, a crime scene, advanced crime scene course, and the low here pay limited in the courses tse ke di entseng pele ho 2019 tse ileng tsa credit hore ke be expect.
Ema pele monghadi, re tla lahlehela.
Okay.
Criminalist expert
Okay.
o entse ka 2008 ho fihlela 2013.
Ke ne ke hlalosa hore advanced crime scene course ha ke fihla local criminal record center in 2008 le tse ding tsa di course tse ke di entseng kaofela ha di kopana ke ka ho ba ileng bang granta criminalistic expert ka 2013 and then 20
Ema pele, a re fetiseng. 2008 in July, I attended the advanced crime scene course and I did other internal short courses. All those courses, when they were put together, that is when I was given a certificate for the criminalist expert.
Okwenzeka ke ukuthi ngoJuly wango-2008 mase ngiqala ke yona ke le course lena ke futhi namanye ke amafushane ke engawenza kuleso sikhathi ila khona ke wathi ke ngo-2013 uma ngabe esehlanganiswa onke ke ngase nginikezwa le certificate se-criminalistic expert.
Mr. Musia, just to cut this thing short, just give me the duration of study. Duration of study of this criminalist expert. We now know that the one prior learning that you received under BK, the duration of study was 6 months. Ne? Yes. Then here, what was the duration of study? Forget about the courses that you passed. Just the duration of study. We want to give credit to those qualifications based on the duration of study. 6 months, 12 months?
Le rona re batla hore re khone ho bona hore ba khone ho fa certificate seo ka tlasa thupello ya nako e kae le hore e ka ba e lekaneng hore o ka ba le maiphitlhe. Jwale he a go re tsebise nako e o entseng kaofela ya course e ya criminalist expert.
ho tloha ka 2008 ho ya ka 2013 ho fihla ho 2013 ke tshepa hore ka etsa dilemo tse 5.
From 2008 up until to 2013, I think all in all it would be a duration of 5 years.
Ngicabanga ukuthi ke le ifundo lezi ke noma amakhosi angaphakathi ke ukusukela ngo-2008 kuze kube u-2013 iminyaka leyo emihlanu.
So in 5 years you studied what? You passed what? Diploma, degree, honors? Let's just group it.
Ha jwale dilemong tsena tse 5 re bitsang he thupello eo kapa o ile wa fumana digarata early degree kapa diploma kapa certificate kapa ke eng o e fumaneng?
Ke SAPS internal courses certificates fela morena.
What?
SAPS internal courses.
Is a South African Police Service internal courses certificate.
Lapho khona ke mase ngiphothule konke ke kwa certificate sasemaphoyiseni noma samakhosi angaphakathi asemaphoyiseni.
So it was not a diploma, it was not a degree, it was a certificate.
Ine isi degree, ine isi diploma, ine le certificate.
Ho jalo morena.
That is correct.
We can use a certificate.
So you were not qualified when you attended the crime scene?
Ho bolela hore ine isi dithuteho tse ka o fang digarata.
You were less qualified, maybe to rephrase. Less qualified, Mr. Musia, you just received the certificate. And which institution awarded that qualification that took you for the duration of 5 years? Is SAPS, ne? Is that what you said?
Is it court, please, my lord? The question is put to the witness that he was less qualified. We don't know what is the basis, of that question, and before the witness can answer, a second question is put. My lord. Can we perhaps maybe have one question at a time so that the witness can answer?
Thank you, my lord. I'll put one question at a time. Which institution awarded those qualifications to you?
Ne le etsa dithupello tsena le university e feng?
South African Police Services.
We were trained by the South African Police Services.
lana ke sasiqeqeshwa ke amaphoyisa.
So that was a departmental training.
In a departmental.
Ho jwalo morenaka.
That is correct.
Kuqiniswa ukuthi sasiqeqeshwa wona umnyango noma ke amaphoyisa.
Okay. So now you graduated, Mr. Mosi. Congratulations in 2013. Okay. And the incident, 2013, ne?
Yes, 2013.
And the incident took place the following year, when you were 1 year post qualification. I don't know whether it's post-grad or post-diploma. You were 1 year.
Ra utlwa he ya ba o fumana he certificate sa thupello ena ya hao ka 2013.
So you,
Ka 2014 ebe ho etsahala ketsahalo e.
so you had 1 year experience after receiving the qualification.
Ho bolela hore jwale maiphihlelo a hao
2013.
ke a nako ya selemo fela experience.
Che, ha ho jwalo.
No, that is not correct.
Yeah, because you completed in 2013.
Kwakuunyaka nje kuphela kunesipiliyoni ngo-2014 uma sekwenzeka isehlakalo lesi.
Yeah, because you completed in 2013, Mr. Mosia, am I correct?
Akere thupello e fedile ka 2013 mo fumantshwang certificate.
A ke tshepe hore e le ha e fellela ka 2013. Hobane ha ke qadile courses ka 2008 ne ke sebetsa operational, ke attenda the crime scene. Ke nahana hore ke mo ne ke ntse ke gain experience teng.
I do not think that the experience started in 2013 when I received the certificate, because since from 2018 since from 2008 I was also attending scene, doing operational.
Ngicabangike ukuthi umsebenzi wami ke noma ke experience sami saqala ke ngo-2013 uma ngabe sengithola certificate lesi ke nangaphambilini ke 2008 ke bengihamba ke kwindawo zesehlakalo ila ngicabanga ukuthi khona ke experience noma ke ulwazi ke ngomsebenzi ngacosha khona.
I'll take it that you don't want to answer this question because it's simple that at the time when you attended the crime scene, you had just received the accreditation of your qualification a year ago.
A re tlanka hore ha o batle o arabela potso ya hae hobane o qeta ho bolella lekgotla hore o fumane certificate sa maiphihlelo kapa tsebo ya hao ka 2013 ketsahalo e be etsahala ka 2014 ha o no ya sebakeng sa ketsahalo eo.
Ke kopa ho ihlakisa hape hona le mo kile ka bua ka hore kile ka ba le expect status 2010 ile sene se sa tshwanele sa advanced crime scene. Ka 2008 ka August ka di 18 ke ile ka poto ke ditsebi tsa sepoleseng forensic ine le ba re ke panel ba mpotsa dipotso ka mosebetsi ohle wa ka mabapi le local criminal record center activities, and I was granted with this fingerprint status, expert status in 2010.
I also want to put to the attention of this court that there were also some other training, and there was a time when I was in the presence of a panel of experts who were putting questions on me to test me about my expertise, and they granted from the local criminal record center, and they then granted me a certificate in fingerprint expert status in 2010.
Okunye futhi ke ngifisa ukuthi le nkantolo ngiyaziseke ukuthi ngaphandleni kwalana ke engachazileke akhona ke namanye engawenza ngaphakathi ke ngo-2010 noma ke kusukela 2008 i-12 September kwaze kwayi-18 zika-August 2010 la khona ke ngangikanye nongoti ke emaphoyiseni kuze ama-fingerprint benemibuzo abangibuza yona ke base benginika ke le certificate.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mosia. I know the court, we now know the qualifications you have been referring to, because I wanted to understand the reason why you omitted to conduct such crucial investigations at the crime scene. Thank you very much, Mr. Mosia, for bringing those certificates. Let's move on to the crime scene. Now we want to see a person who has studied according to those certificates, how we handled the crime scene now.
Aro o lebohela tsebo qethang ho ba hlahisetsa yona leseding ya dikgatiso tsa menwana. Jwale he o batla re khutlele sebakeng sa ketsahalo hore re tle re tlo bona hore ho baneng o ile a hloleha ho etsa mosebetsi e meng e leng hore o sontse o na le thupelo ya yona.
Ho utlwahala Morena.
I understand.
Okay. Can you get the photo album beamed? We were on the photos that depicted the blood stain, Mr. Mosia. You remember yesterday?
Ne re le tshwantshong sane se ne se bontsha madi le boteng maobane. Wa hopola?
Ke a hopola Morena.
And you said where exactly in the house did you find the blood stain as depicted in those two pictures?
Ore madi ane a hlahella ditshwantshong tse re bontshitseng tsona maobane ke madi a fumaneng hokae le hokae.
Ke madi a fumaneng le boteng la kitcheneng le aparisitsweng ka di-tiles.
Le hokae.
Kitcheneng le boteng.
You can look at the photos so that we can refer to the photos, Mr. Mosia. We had moved away from the ones that were spotted on the walls. So we were now on the floor.
Re buile ka baka tse pedi le bota.
Excuse me. 82.
Something 83. And then the number.
Oh, it's photo 79. Ho tloha ho photo 79 ho ya ho photo 82.
From the photo 79 till to photo number 82.
Kule ithombe besikhuluma ngazo ke enegazi bese sidlulile kulezi kwigazi elisobondeni kodwa igazi eliphansi uphoto 79 ufika ku photo 82.
And you said in relation to these photos, Mr. Mosia, where was the deceased when he was shot? I understand these two were depicted, are reflecting the lounge area. Am I correct?
Ditshwantsho tse re di shebileng hana jwale ke tsa ka mane ka lounge area ke.
That is correct. Then where was the deceased when he was shot?
Mofu yena hana thungwa ona le hokae?
Ke ne se ke hlalositse hore ne ba ekare ho ne ba fekisana ka kitcheneng.
I already testified that the struggle was in the kitchen.
Bese ngishilo ke ufakazi wami ngaphambilini ukuthi inkathi ke belisana ke umufi ke nalowo ke lisona naye babe se kitchen.
So how come that there was no blood in the kitchen where it is alleged that the deceased was shot, and there's only blood stains in the lounge where he was not shot at?
Jwale hobaneng ho sena madi ka kitchen mo eleng hore o thunyeditswe teng ebe madi boholo aka lounge area ka mo a sa thunyetswang teng?
Ke ka se hlalosa se a makatsa.
It is surprising also to me, so I cannot answer.
Angeke ngichazeke
Thank you.
lokho nakumina ke kuyamangaza ukuthi igazi alizange litholakale kubondeni ekitchen la kwakuliswana khona kodwa la kule ndawo etshengiswayo la ku-4079 kuyosho ku-82.
Maybe Mr. Mosia, is it not because it had been cleaned by that witness? You remember that witness who came and cleaned the scene before you arrived? Is it not because it had been cleaned?
As a court, please, my lord, maybe this needs to be in proper context. The witness has already testified that blood stains were found on the kitchen wall. I think the question needs to be qualified so that there's no misunderstanding, my lord.
No, my lord, there is no misleading now here. I'm just flowing, my lord, with the witness.
No, there was the word only there. You inserted the word only.
Sorry, my
Blood-
lord?
You inserted the word only, that blood was found only in the lounge.
Oh, okay. But what I
I
wanted
mean,
to
if you
say,
say only, it means there was no blood anywhere else.
the only word that I used, my lord, it's in respect of the absence of blood stains in the kitchen and only found in the dining room or lounge.
Yeah, I think your colleague is talking about blood that was found in the kitchen wall.
Yeah, but common sense, my lord, we all know that from the wall, there were blood stains. They are on record, my lord. I'm not in respect of that. I'm in respect of the floor, my lord.
No, but you didn't say that. You said only in the lounge.
In the lounge. Thank you, my lord. Can you just rephrase
Yes.
that question?
Yes.
Mr. Mosia, besides the blood stains that were spotted from the wall in the kitchen, okay, and there is no blood stains recovered from the floor. I am saying to you, you said also it surprised you.
Ntle le maqhapatsa a madi a fumanweng leboteng fatshe ka kitcheneng ho ne ho sena madi le wena o itse wa re seo se o makaditse.
Then I'm saying, is it not because the absence of blood in the kitchen? Is it not because the crime scene, remember earlier on, Mr. Mosia, had been cleaned by a witness who arrived at the scene before you arrived?
Jwale
Is that fine, my lord?
ebe seo ha se etse ko hobane hona le paki e ho thingile ya hlwekisa sebaka sa ketsahalo.
Che, eo nka se arabele morena.
I cannot answer that.
Angeke ke ngiphendule ukuthi ke imbangela yokuthi yebo lalikhona ke igazi obondeni kodwa lingekho phansi ukuthi lokho kwenziwa ukuthi ukhona ke lona owafika ke wase elisula noma eliqina ke lelo gazi.
But is it
Angeke
not
ngiphendule
possible?
lokho.
Is it not possible?
Khonahalo e jwalo ha yona.
Not possible that it was cleaned before you arrived.
Ha iyo khonahalo ya hore mohlomong ka nnete madi a ile a hlwekiswa fatshe.
Kgonahalo yona e
He's already
teng.
said he can't answer that, my lord. He can't take it any further than that, my lord. Unless, he's being called upon to speculate. He stated that he can't answer that. It can be left for argument.
Yes?
My lord, I think the witness can be able to answer this question.
You can be able to speculate.
Based on the fact that the crime scene had been cleaned before, my lord, and the testimony of this witness, my lord, is that the deceased was shot in the kitchen, my lord.
Mr. Musia, there you are asked to comment about the possibility that the reason you found no blood on the kitchen floor, but only on the floor in the lounge, is because they had been cleaning before you arrived.
Na khonahalo e ka ba teng he monghadi Mosia ya hore ka hobane mofu ho thu o thunyeditswe ka kitcheneng empa madi ha wa fihlela a le teng fatshe ka kitcheneng ho ka tswa ho a hlwekisitswe madi ao a clean.
Ho ka kgonahala.
that could be a possibility.
Kungenzeka-ke ukuthi imbangela yokuthi lingabi khona igazi phansi laphayana-ke nanjengoba bese kushiwo-ke noma kufundiwe-ke ukuthi ukhona-ke owafika-ke walisula noma waliclean.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Musia. Thank you, my lord. From the spot wherein you spotted the blood stain inside the house, did you follow the blood stain track from the house to the vehicle wherein the deceased is said he was loaded from?
Ho tswa mo hlokometseng madi ka mane ka lounge sitting area. Na wile wa latela mohlala wa maqhapatsa a madi ho ya koloing e hothing isitse mofu sepetlele.
Che maqhapatsa a madi ha ya ka a bonahala ketsahalong eo ntle le a ko fumaneng mo ko fumaneng teng.
There was no trail of a blood spot on the floor except on the area on which I took pictures.
Igazi-ke latholakala kule ndawo engathatha kuyona-ke iy'thombe kungekho-ke la noma kungathi kunomzila khona-ke wegazi.
Okay. And then now, Mr. Musia, when you come back from the break, we're going to listen to you now lifting the remainder. We call it leftover exhibits that you found at the crime scene after it had been contaminated by those witnesses.
Jwale he ntate Musia re a sebakeng sa ketsahala. Re a lo sheba masaledi jwale a bopaki bo eleng hore busuwe mo ka morao hore ebe ba sitisa sebaka seo sa ketsahala.
My lord, can you take a short adjournment now? Or should I proceed, my lord?
Okay.
Or should I proceed, my lord?
It's 10 minutes before tea.
10 minutes before. Oh, thank you, my lord. Okay, Mr. Musia, let's use this 10 minutes. We're now going to the scene, going back to the house. The house had been cleaned, so whatever you retrieved from the crime scene was a leftover.
Sense re utlwile hore sebaka seo sa ketsahalo sile sa sitiswa ke batho ba ileng ba hlwekisi. Jwale he ho bolela hore wena seo se fihletseng mo ke masaledi fe.
Ho tlohala morena.
I understand.
Ngiyakuzwa-ke uma uthi lokho ngakufica-ke noma lelo gazi angalithola-ke lapho kwakuyinsala noma lokho okwasala.
And amongst the leftover exhibits, Mr. Musia, it includes the exhibits that you retrieved firstly when you were alone at the crime scene or in your first arrival at the crime scene.
Ho jwalo morena.
That is correct.
And the bullet projectile that you did not even receive or that you did not even retrieve from the first time when you arrived at the scene, but further on your second time and your second visit from the crime scene, also it amounts or it is part and parcel of the leftover exhibits.
Jwale he akere bullet projectile bokapele kapa hloho ya bullet ki engwe ya dintho tse ileng hore ha wa ka wa khona ho di fumana ha o no ile kgetlo sa pele o di fumane kgetlo sa bobedi go jwale
nka se bui pulo ele masalla mo ketsahalong eo.
I cannot say a bullet projectile was the remainder of what was left when after at the scene of crime.
Angeke ngithi-ke i-projectile lena noma-ke ikhanda-ke lenhlamvu yilokho kwasalela ngasemuva.
Mr. Musia, when you arrived at the crime scene, the people who had already contaminated with the crime scene.
Tate Musia hopola hore ha o fihla sebakeng sa ketsahalo. Ho no ho sentse ho na le batho ba sitisitseng sebaka seo sa ketsahalo.
Before you arrived.
Ho tlwaetse morena ka.
Yes.
Ngizwile ukuthi yebo nanjengoba kufundile noma ushilo ukuthi bekunabantu-ke besele beklinile-ke kwindawo yesehlakalo.
So the bullet projectile that was recovered on top of the carpet was also recovered after the crime scene had been contaminated, Mr. Mosia.
Jwale ho tla bolela hore bullet projectile e fumanweng hodima cupboard ke engwe ya masaledi ka morao hore ho sitiswe sebaka sa ketsahalo.
Ho ya ka nna sebaka sa ketsahalo e wa bobodu ha ke ho fihleng haka a ke aka ka senka jwalo ka sebaka se sentsweng ke ka ho ke reng e nentse ile crime scene ho nna.
When I arrived at the scene of crime, I did not see it as a crime of sin that is been contaminated. To me, it was just an ordinary crime scene.
Nkathi ngifika khona lapho ke angizange ngiboneke ukuthi indawo yesehlakalo leyo ke ekukhona okwenziwa kuyona noma eyaphazamiseka ke ngayibona noma ngayithatha nanjenge indawo yesehlakalo evamisekile noma ke ejwayelekile.
Mr. Mosia, I've just read the statement from the witnesses who are telling us what transpired before you arrived. And then I'm saying, based on the content of those statements, so the bullet head that you retrieved from the crime scene, you received it after the crime scene had been contaminated by those witnesses that I've just referred this court to.
Hopola ntate Mosia, ho badile ditatemente mona tse bontshang lekgotla lena hore pele seponesa se ka fihla sebaka seo sa ketsahalo se ile sa sitiswa sa hlwekiswa. Jwale potso e latela ka morao ho seo hore ho sha hore sebaka tse bullet projectile le hloho ya bullet eo ke engwe ya masaledi ka morao hore ketsahalo ya sebaka se sa ketsahalo se sitiswa.
Ke kopa o ntsha tlhahiso.
Can I make a suggestion?
No, answer. You give us, you don't make suggestion.
Are o kopa hore o arabele o ska etsa tlhahiso.
This exhibit you retrieved or you recovered from the crime scene, you recovered it after the crime scene had been contaminated, Mr. Mosia. We cannot argue on that.
Bopaki bo bo bukeleditseng sebakeng sa ketsahalo o bo bukeleditse ka morao hore sebaka seo sa ketsahalo se sitiswe ho jalo kapa tjhe monghadi.
Che nka se arabele eo ya sebaka se sitisitsweng morenaka.
I cannot answer on that point of the contaminated scene.
Angeke ngiphenduleke ukuthi ke indawo yesehlakalo ke kwakuyindawo esekhona kwenzekile noma ke isiphazanyisiwe.
And I understand it's because you are running away from the truth. The only thing that will set you free, Mr. Mosia, before this court is to tell the truth. And you are going to tell the truth.
Are yena ka ho bona ha hae ho balehela nnete ene se tla o pholosa pela le khotla lena kore o hlaise nnete fela.
Ke tshepa hore tsohle tse ke buileng ka ra le khotla le hlomphehileng ke nnete fela.
I believe what I have already testified before this honorable court is nothing but the truth.
Ngikholwa ke noma ngiyathemba ukuthi lokho sengikushilo ke la enkantolo kuyiqiniso kuphela.
And after the crime scene had been contaminated, you arrived at the crime scene, you did not check the exhibit on top of the counter, or you did not find the exhibit on top of the counter, but only to find it on the second time when you arrived at the crime scene. Am I correct?
O ile sebakeng sa ketsahalo e sitisitsweng wa fihla sebakeng sa ketsahalo eo e sitisitsweng wa hloleha ho fumana hore hona le hloho ya bullet hodimo ha cupboard ha o no ile kgetlo la pele mara kgetlo sa bobedi ke hona o fumanang hloho eo ya bullet.
A ke tshepe hore ke hlolehile ho fumana kulo e hodima kitchen unit ka ha ke ne ke sa ke stalodisitse ke tla ka tlameha ho etsa the necessary ho latela ka mokgoro sebetsang ka teng ke bitse batho ba tax team le lengolo lo mpatlileng lona mo bane ke le tshwere.
I would not say that I failed to recover or collect the evidence on my first visit, as I alluded to the fact that I had to follow certain protocols and call the team or the necessary people who would come and help. I even have a letter in my presence.
Who said you failed?
Angihlule kangaka noma ngizange ngihluleke ukuthi ngenze umsebenzi wami bese ngichazileke ukuthi ngangilindeleke i-task team.
Who said you failed?
Ke mang a itseng a re o hlolehile?
mohlomong a ke a utlwa potso hantle morena. Ke utlwile ke ka re ke hlolehile, I failed to.
Maybe I did not hear the question correctly
Very well.
because I thought I had something that I failed to.
Very well, Mr. Messiah, just listen attentively.
Are o hlo o mamedisitse hantle monghadi.
I've never said you have failed. I am saying the bullet projectile that was recovered from the crime scene, it was recovered after the crime scene had been contaminated. It was recovered after you had been there for the first time and did not find it, and only to find it on the second time visit.
Ho bile le hore sebakeng seo sa ketsahalo e sitisitsweng ha o no ya kgetlo la pele ha wa ka wa fumana bullet projectile hloho ya bullet empa kgetlo sa bobedi ha o ya ke mo eleng hore o fumana yona bullet projectile.
Is that so?
Ho jwalo morena.
That is correct.
Uqiniswa ukuthi angitholanga ke ngehlandla lokuqala ngiye lapha kodwa ke uma sesiya ke okwesibili yatholakala.
And that exhibit, Mr. Mosia, the bullet recovered on top of the cupboard, is the one that is set in terms of the ballistic report that is linking the accused with this case. Even if you don't know the results of the ballistic, but I'm now telling you to say the very same bullet that we are talking about that was recovered under the circumstances I've just referred you to is the one that is set to be linking the accused with this matter. You understand that?
O ka tla o sa tsebe di results tsa ballistic hore di reng empa wa o tsebisa he hore ka baka la di results tseo tsa ballistic tsa bullet hloya bullet e fumane hodima carbon e hothing ke yona e amahanyang baqosuwa bana le tlolo molao e.
Ho tlaala morena.
I understand that.
Ngezwa ke ukuthi ke leyo nhlamvu ke noma lelo khanda lenhlamvu ke yiyona ke elihlanganisa ke noma elibangela ukuthi abamangalelwa abahlalelana ke kuthiwa ke ibona ke abakwenza lokho.
Thank you, my lord. Can I ask, my lord, that we take a short break here? Then we'll resume after tea with Mr. Mosia.
Can we are supposed to be back here at 1:30. Can we be here maybe at 25 to?
Okay, madam.
I'm not feeling very well.
Can you resume at 1:45, madam? 1:45. It will also just give me few minutes to wrap up, my lord.
Yes.
1:45. Thank you, my lord.
Yeah, so that I want to get something. I want her to get something.
Oh,
so.
sorry, madam.
All right. O sa hlapantse ntate Mosia o bua nnete fela e utlwahala.
Ho tlaala morena.
Confirmed, my lord.
Before I continue with my cross-examination, I would like to put it to the attention of the court, and I'm also asking the protection from this court, from the journalist, in particular, the SABC that has planted the microphone in front of me. As much as they have a right, be it a constitutional right, to record the proceedings, but also, I also have a constitutional right as a legal practitioner and counsel representing accused number 5 in this court. My lord, there is no right that is not subject to any certain limitation. I'm not sure about the order that was granted, if there were any terms and conditions under which the broadcasting should operate. I am saying this, my lord, because I have received messages during a short break, not today only onwards, but now, my lord, I'm referring to the one that I've received today at 11:36. It was during break when I had conversation, a private conversation, a crucial conversation, my lord, regarding the documents of this case with the State Council. And we were recorded. And that information has been disseminated to the public, which is compromising us and is also compromising the tribe. And that information has been recorded. I'm getting the message from someone who is in Cape Town, my lord. And as a result of that, I've removed that microphone here. And I'm asking, my lord, this court to protect us in terms of setting the terms and conditions, because when I'm asking them, guys, why are you not switching off the mics when the court is adjourned? Because your purpose and intention is to record the proceedings. And during the breaks, my lord, our movement is now limited. It's now compromised. Our talking. And even when we're discussing work, we are being compromised, my lord. To such an extent that a crucial information has now been disseminated to the world. And the information that I cannot even share it with this court, what we're discussing about. My lord, that's why I'm saying we need real protection. I've just discussed it with my learned friend. Maybe she's also going to inform the court the experiences he has also had with the behavior of the SABC in particular, my lord. And hence I'm saying that I am asking, my lord, for a stringent order with the conditions on how this case should be broadcasted. It cannot be like a freeway. Even when we're talking with our clients, my lord, we are being tortured. They are listening to us, they're listening to each and every conversation, they're taking pictures the way they want. Whichever position they want, they're taking it, my lord. I'm not sure, my lord, whether that is fair to us and to our clients. That our rights to dignity should be so disrespected at the expense of the journalists that they have to broadcast this case. My lord, I'm just being distracted. I'm in the middle of cross-examination. I'm also sorry, my lord, for distracting the proceedings, but I thought I need to put this to the attention of this court, so that for the way forward from now onwards, I know that we are protected, and the proceedings as well are protected. We can't even move, my lord. We can't even laugh. We can't even eat. We are broadcasted on each and every movement of ours here in this court. Is that fair, my lord? And in other words, we are not being put in a conducive environment when we are working, my lord, in this court. And I'm asking this honorable court, my lord, to intervene and give us a conducive environment. There are two protected rights here: the rights for the journalist and the matter to be broadcasted. However, we also have our own constitutional rights, which must be balanced, my lord. And no rights should overweigh any other one's rights. If we are as counsels in this honorable court, my lord, we are not safe and protected, then our rights to dignity is violated, my lord. That's my request, my lord. Thank you. Sorry, my lord, just to add on that also, there are cell phones, my lord, that are being circulated in this court. And hence I'm saying I'm not sure about the court order, how far it ordered access to the broadcast of these proceedings. If we have to be taken by the cell phones, or if we were subjected to recordings, what is it exactly that had been granted access to this court? We are in each and every journalist's cell phones here. our lives at risk, my lord, as well. Including the information that is broadcasted here. The cell phones are just picking up the information that is broadcast, that is uploaded there for the purpose of these trial proceedings, my lord, and not for the purpose of being taken by pictures by people who are going to send it out for their own interest, my lord. My lord, I'm asking for the protection before this protest of my submissions. And I ask that this microphone be removed from me, my lord. This one, I've just removed it, it's down there. If it has to record me, it will record me away from my space. Thank you, my lord.
Yvonne? Is Yvonne here? My understanding is that you had discussions with media houses. The sense I get from Advocate Nshololo is that it's getting to where people are feeling like cockroaches in bottles, and that would not have been the idea. I think what is of interest is the proceedings in this case. As to when somebody yawns or does the one or the other thing, it was not the intention. So, and my sense was that this was discussed with everyone. So how come these other inversions? I suggest that we adjourn shortly, and I suggest that you engage them, and when we return, we are not going far. When we return, we shall have something to say. After meeting the media houses, you should join us outside.
I think that will assist us because I personally, as the officer of the court, I don't know how the media operates. From the beginning, I've been getting answers from them on how they do their work. But like you said, I think we need a meeting between me, myself, and the media house because this would jeopardize my job. Thank you very much.
Mr. Baloy?
My lord, I can confirm what Advocate Nshololo has put in record.
Is there something planted before you?
I've had this similar experience. In fact, my lord, from the beginning of the trial, we have been receiving messages from people far away alerting us to the fact that we're being recorded whilst we are engaged in private conversations and in fact being warned not to say anything, confidential. On the 1st of June, I also received a message from someone in the VAL. I called the cameraman, showed him the message and said, please, this must stop. And, unfortunately, it's continuing. My lord, whilst we support the audiovisual coverage of of these proceedings to inform the public, we submit that this intrusive way of coverage is not in the interest of this case. And even in those cases where I have in mind here the SEA decision of the NDPP versus Media 24 and others, and Van Breda, the court there specifically excluded from coverage and said there shall be no coverage of communication between counsel, client, or co-counsel, bench discussions, and in-camera hearings. And this, we've seen in this instance, my lord, that there's an absolute carte blanche, and we will request that and also an order be made that all private conversations that were recorded be deleted.
There is a microphone before me, and my sense is that the limitations will not affect it, because I would think that whatever the court says or doesn't say, in terms of what the public interest in this matter should be allowed to go wherever it goes. I don't think we can go there, but I didn't, for the life of me, I didn't imagine that it would go to where coverage even affects conversations between the legal representatives and their clients, and even movements outside the periphery of the proceedings. So, like I said, let us step outside shortly, agree on what we need to do. There is no, in my sense, there is no move against the media, but there are concerns around the extent to which the media or part of the media is going in covering this event.
Indeed, my lord, there is a concern.
Advocate Tefo?
As it please the court, Your Lordship, I don't have the experience of my learned colleague, Your Lordship. I've got nothing much to say.
O fihlile kgetlo la pele ka di 27 e le hoseng wa boela hape wa fihla ka lona letsatsi leo la 27 ka mora metsotso kapa dihora tse itseng.
Ho jwalo morena.
That is correct.
Amabinyeke lamalanga noma lenkathi ke ngifika ngazo ngafika ke ku ilanga noma idate ku 27.
And the exhibits that you are referring to here, they were recovered on the 27th on your second visit at the crime scene.
Me bopaki bo eleng hore re bo fumane bo hlahisitsweng pela lekgotla ke bo o bo bokeleditseng ka di 27 ha o no o ya kgetlo la bobedi sebakeng sa ketsahalo.
Ising bopaki bona bo kaofela bo bong ke bo fumane ha ke khutlela for the second time, bo bong ke bo fumane kgetlo la pele.
Not all evidence. Some of the evidence I recovered on the first visit and some on the second visit.
Akusibona bonke ubufakazi batholakala mase ngibuyela kwesibili, obunye batholakala ngathi ngiyokuqala, obunye ubufakazi ngathi ngibuyela kwesibili.
Okay. The ones that you recovered on your first visit, when did you book them? Into the exhibit book.
Bopaki bo o bo bokeleditseng kgetlo la pele ha o no fihla sebakeng sa ketsahalo o bongotse ho kae bukeng kapa registereng ya tsa bopaki kapa o bongotse neng?
Ho ya ka di records tsa ka ke bongotse ka di 28 lo se.
According to my records, I recorded them on the 28th in the morning.
Uma sengibheka lana ke ubufakazi uma sengibhala ke encwadini ke ubufakazi yasemaphoyiseni ngabhala 28 ekseni.
Why on the 28th? Because the 27th, Mr. Musia, was a working day.
Hobani
And the custodian of the exhibits at the station was at work. In your examination in chief or earlier on in your evidence, you told this court that because it was on a Sunday, you had to keep them in your personal safe. Am I correct?
Hobani he wile wa recorda bopaki ka di 28 e letsatsi la bobedi la beke khanti ketsahalo o bo bokeleditse ka Mantaha bahlokomedi ba bopaki ba le teng. Hobane ha ebe ne re utlwile bopaking ba hao o itse wena o ile wa bo boloka ka safe ya hao e ka officing ka lebaka la hobane e ne le ka Sontaha?
Ke kopantse matsatsi ka seo ka tshwarelo, and lebaka le ntseng hore ke di register ho SAP exhibit register SAP 459 ka di 28 hoseng ska ke le ka hlalesa gore exhibit like ka di weekend ha e ne se biteng. Ke nahana hore ka ha crime scene teng ila yang ka nako e telele le bosibu ba teng kaofela le mantsibuya, ka ho ke fihlile ka di sia ka ra safe ka tla di buka tsatsi le latelang.
I'm mixed up on the dates, and I would request this court to for a sincere apology on that fact. I believe because of the time that we took at the crime scene, which prolonged for a night and the day and up until the following day. That is why I had a mixed up, and I took those evidence and put them in the safe only to book them in the morning.
Mangabe bese ngicacisa ke ngisho ke ukuthi abasebenzayo ke ama-club basebenza ngama-weekend ke yebo ke, kodwa emuva kwalokho ngase ngihlanganisa ke namalanga ke ngoba ke sasebenza kusebusuku, sasebenza futhi ilanga lonke kwaze futhi kwayelenye ke ilanga, ingakho ke ngabuthatha ubufakazi ngabugcina imini.
It was not a mistake, Mr. Mosia, what you said here in court. I put it to you that you are lying. It is because you never booked these exhibits into the exhibit register, which is the SAP 13, Mr. Mosia, that I'm referring to. Don't confuse yourself. I'm referring to the official custodian register and the proper way of handling the exhibits. You kept this exhibit the whole day with you, and you failed to keep it under the lockup custody, safe and custody at the station on the 27th of October 2014. Am I correct?
Hase pause. Wena o buile seo ka hobane o no tseba hore ha wa etsa dintho ka tsela e nepahetseng. O nkile bopaki bo wa bo boloka ka hara kantoro ya hao ka safe. O sa bokenye mo bo tlamehang hore ebe bo dutse teng polokelong ya SAP 13 mo bopaki bo bewang teng ka tsela e tshwanetseng.
Ke tla kopa ho hlalosa ka pela lekgotla le hlomphehileng. Hona le di exhibit tse re di bukang ho SAP 13 police station. Di exhibit tse re di collectang crime scene jwalo ka sethunya ke tsona ntho tse re di potlakelang re di bolokang ho SAP 13, empa tse tshwanang le dikulo le dintho tsa bopaki ba forensic re di buke mosebetsing ho SAP 459 register mrena.
SAP
459.
I'd like to clarify that there is a way on which we store or keep the evidence. There is an evidence that is collected like firearms. That one strictly we have to book it in the SAP 13, which is in the police station immediately. But there are other evidence like ammunition and the evidence that will be collected at the scene. That one we can keep in the SAP 459.
Bengifisa ke noma ngicela ukuthi ngichaze ke lokho ukuthi ke bukhona ubufakazi obutholakalayo ke bona ke uma ngabe sebubhala encwadini bona ke kufana nje nesibhamu kubhalwa kuyona SAP 13 kube khona ke obunye ubufakazi nabo ke obutholakalayo kodwa bona bungafakwa ku SAP 13 kodwa bese kufaka bona ke ku SAP 459.
When you were testifying in your examination in chief, did you tell this court that the exhibits that I retrieved from the crime scene, I entered them into SAP 4596, whatever that you're saying? Did you tell this court?
Na ha no fana ka bopaki ba hao pele ha lekgotla o ile a hlalosetsa lekgotla lena hore bopaki bo ke bo bokeleditseng ke ile ka bo bolokela ka hare ho ka bo register ka tlasa SAP 459.
Ke tshepa hore ke entse jwalo morena.
I believe that's what I said before this court.
Ngicabanga ukuthi ke ngikwenzile ke lokho ukuthi ngiyitshelele inkantolo ngaphambilini ukuthi ubufakazi bufakwa SAP 459.
Did you show us the register when you were testifying?
We
That
learn
this is the register where I entered the exhibits into.
O ile wa re bontsha registera eo jwalo ka yona registera eo ngotseng dintho tseo
When
ho
you were
yona
testifying,
ha o fana ka bopaki hore ke di ngotse ka hara registera e leng SAP 459.
Ke ne ke na le yona letsohong empa ha ya ka ya amohele ya ka lebaka la hore e ne le copy ka tlameha hore ke etse matsapa a hore ke fumane ya fumaneha officing empa commander ya ka ya nhlalosetsa hore ha ho a dumellwa hore ke tle le buka ya di exhibit kaofela court hona le tsela eo e sebediswang hore buka e ntshuwe officing for lebaka le itseng o tla tlameha o etse di application.
I did bring the copies of the endorsement where I had registered those exhibits, but it was not accepted before this court due to the fact that it was just a copy. And I was then requested to bring the original, which is the book itself. I spoke to my commander, who then told me that there are procedures that needs to be followed. An application need to be brought forward for that book to be brought to court.
Ngicabanga ukuthi ke icopy leyo ke ngangiyiphethe ke la enkantolo kodwa ke ayamukeleka ngoba kwakuyicopy ngase ngicelwa ke ukuthi ngize ke nencwadi uqobo ngileke emsebenzini icommander yangitshela ke ukuthi kunendlela ekwenziwa ngakhona uma ngabe sekufiswa ke ukuthi incwadi leyo iphume e-station ngoba ke ayivumelekile ukuthi iphume kune application ekufanele ukuthi yenziwe.
but in short, whatever reason might be, you have not informed, you have not produced any document to this court when you were testifying in chief regarding the register wherein you had recorded these exhibits.
Ho bopaki ba hao bo ka sehlohlolong ha wa ka wa ntsha bopaki bo tshwarehang mo ngotseng teng fatshe hore o registerile di bopaki bo hona teng.
Le ha ne ke botshwere empa ba ka ba amohele ya morena.
Even though I had that evidence in my possession, it was not accepted.
Ubufakazi bona lokho benginawo noma bengiphethe ke kodwa ke abamukelekanga enkantolo.
You did not produce it.
Ha wa bo
Is it so,
hlahisa
Mr. Masi?
ha wa bo hlahisa bopaki bo lekgohleng.
Ke dumela jwalo morena ka. Empa ke la ka etsa hore ke tle le another copy e certified ke commander ya ka ka lebaka leo.
Yes, even though I did bring a copy that was certified by my commander.
Yebo ke lokho ekuyimpela ukuthi angikwenzile kodwa ke ngayeza nayo ke icopy ke eyabekwa ke istab noma eyacertify iyona
You did
icommander
not
yami.
bring it to this court. You did not bring it to the, you did not produce it to the court. Mr. Masi.
As a quick request, without being seen to testify from the podium, we have furnished the defense, my lord, with a certified copy, and I do have copies of the SAP 459, and I explained to my learned friend that if she deems it necessary, can be handed up as an exhibit, my lord. And we discussed that that will be exhibit E, you know, should she want to refer to it.
Objection, my lord. That's a wrong procedure, my lord. We don't submit exhibits during cross-examination. We submit exhibits when you are testifying to say this is the proof that I registered and the exhibits were kept in this manner. And this is the proof, my lord, that should have been submitted before this court, and it was not submitted. That's my submission, my lord.
My lord, this issue came up during cross-examination of the witness, and we have since obtained certified copies, provided both my colleagues with copies, and we do have copies available. Instead of, my lord, perhaps debating things in vacuum, we do have copies, they can be made use of. My Lord. That's all I'm saying.
My Lord, that exhibits that my learned friend is referring to cannot be submitted at this stage, and it cannot be marked as exhibits. I'm just doing my cross-examination. It was not submitted. Let's move on. Can you close that gap?
Let's proceed.
Thank you, my Lord. I'm failing to understand why you were to keep the exhibits with you on the 27th, the whole day up until you register them on the 28th of October. What were you doing with these exhibits? Where?
Ha o twisise hore hobaneng o ile wa tshwara bopaki bona ho wena ho tloha ka di 27 tsa October ebe o lo bo registera ka di 28 tsa October o no etsang ka bona nako ena kaofela
Ska ha se ke hlaloseditse bopaki bo ne bo le ka hare ho safe ya ka empa ka tlasa mabaka a itseng ha ke ka kgona ho phumella ho dibuka ka lona letsatsi leo le nako e ke bileng le yona crime scene ile yang nthefula le mkhathalano le mongata ke fihlile ka di beya fela ka safe ya ka and then ka tla dibuka tsatsi le latelang morenaka.
As I've already testified that it took a long time at the crime scene and I was exhausted. Hence, I put the evidence in my safe only to book it or register it the following day.
Sengishiba noma ke ukuchaza kwami ke ukuthi isikhatha isikhathi eside ke kwindawo yesehlakalo ilokho okwabangela ukuthi uma sengifika ke emsebenzini ubufakazi ngibhuke kwi safe yami ngibukhiphe ngelanga elilandelayo.
You were not exhausted, Mr. Mosia. You were not tired. You were still tampering with these exhibits. That is why you delayed in entering them in the exhibit register. That is why you delayed in putting the exhibits into the lockup safe immediately after they had been recovered from the crime scene.
Wa o jwetsa he hore ha se taba ya hobane o na le mokgathala o saka wa bukang di-exhibit tseo e ne le taba ya hore ho no hona le ho itseng ho ntse o etsa ho sitisa bopaki bona pele o ka lo buka mo bo tlamehang bo bukwe teng.
Tjhe, ke dumellana le seo ke sa utlwisise hore nka sitisa bopaki hodima mosebetsi o ke nang le boikarabelo ho ona ska ha ke le mo ka hara lekgotla le ke araba dipotso tse ka teng.
I do not agree with you on that point because I cannot tamper with the evidence on which I am accountable for. The same evidence on which I have to answer to today.
Angivumelani ke nawe ukuthi kukhona ke noma imbangela ke ukuthi kwakukhona engangikwenza ngalo ubufakazi ngoba ke lo bufakazi lobo ke ekufanele ke ukuthi noma ngisebenza ngabo futhi kufanele ukuthi ngizophendula imibuzo noma ngiphendule imibuzo la enkantolo ngabo.
But your failure to put them, register them into the register on 27 suggests that you allowed the contamination.
Are lebaka la hore ebe ha wa ka wa boboloka mo bo tlamehang bo bolokiwe teng ka di 27 bo etsa hore ho bene le kgopolo ya hore hona le ho itseng ho no o ho etsa ho bona.
Tjhe, ha ke dumellane le seo morena.
I disagree with that.
Ngiyaphikisa ke lokho ukuthi kukhona ke engangikwenza ngabo okwabangela ukuthi kungafakwa ke nge 27.
You know the truth what you are doing with these exhibits.
Are yena o hopola hore wena wa itseba nnete.
And today we are going to tell this court. Let's move on to exhibit B.
Me re tla fetela ho exhibit B.
The exhibit B, are you the author of that exhibit B?
Exhibit B, na ko wena a ngotseng mongodi wa exhibit B.
Ha ke qala ho fana ka bopaki ka phola lekgotla le ke ile ka hlalosa hore ka mora hore re ke kope task team hore e join re le ra arola mosebetsi wa rona gomme warrant officer from task team nkekeng ka mhlalosa hona jwale o ne a nka dinepe ha ne re se re etsa crime scene kgetlo la bobedi ke ena na le boikarabelo ba dinepe exhibit B e kaofela ha yona ke dinepe tsene di nkuwa ke warrant officer from crime scene management nna ke ne ke na le boikarabelo.
Okay. As I've already testified that I had to work together with the crime management task team and we had to divide duties. A warrant officer, which I cannot name right now, had to compile or take pictures and compile a photo album. On the second visit at the crime scene, so that warrant officer took all the pictures and compiled the album.
Bese ngitshela ke ukuthi noma ke ubufakazi mayela ke nawe exhibit B ukuthi ke ngelanga lesibini uma ngishilo ukuthi ngase ngilinde i-task team bafika ke sase ke siyenza ke imisebenzi eyahlukahlukene kuna warrant officer ke ngeke ngimchazeke ekuyena ke owathatha ke le ithombe lezi zikula ku exhibit B.
Mr. Musia, the task team is still coming. We're waiting for the task team. Now, I'm asking you, is there anything that you yourself conducted at the crime scene which is contained in this exhibit? So that you can either close this exhibit or continue looking into it.
Are o santsane a tla bua le ba task team ka nako e batlang. Empa o batla ho tseba hore na ho na le karolo e we bapetseng ho exhibit B. Ho na le ditshwantsho tsa hao tseo ka di hlahisang hore tsena ke tse nkuweng ke nna.
Che ne ke se ke hlalositse hore ditshwantsho di ne di le boikarabelong ba warrant officer ene nna ke le ka nka boikarabelo ka di exhibit tse ne ke di nkile go tloa bosibu le ha se re khutla kgetlo la bobedi kaofela di exhibit di ne di le boikarabelong ba ka.
I've already testified that the photo album was compiled by one of the warrant officers who was at the crime scene, and the role that I played was to collect the evidence on the first and the second visit.
Bese ngishilo ukuthi lezi ithombe zathathwa warrant officer ke okwami kwakuwukuthi nje ngihlanganisa ubufakazi kathi ngiye kokuqala nankathi ngiye okwesibili.
Is there any role that you played in respect of the exhibits that are contained here?
Exhibit B.
Is there any role that you played regarding the exhibits that are contained in exhibit B?
Ho exhibit B ka bo yona kaofela e shebe hantle ho twa qaphela pele ho fihlela la ho qethela hona le karolo e we bapetseng ho yona exhibit B.
Yes, as I've already testified.
Ngishilo ukuthi ngenzani ke ngokumayela naye ke exhibit B.
Yeah. What did you do? I want to get it from you. What did you do here?
Re batla ho tseba ya hao karolo ke efeng e we bapetseng.
Yes.
Ke ne se ke hlalositse hore ke ne ke na boikarabelo ba ka ene di exhibit tsa ketsahalo eo kaofela ha tsona.
I already testified that my responsibility was to collect the evidence at the crime scene itself.
Bese ngishilo ukuthi okwami kwakuwukuthi nje ngihlanganiseke noma ngixoshe ubufakazi kuyona indawo yesehlakalo.
Yeah. Which exhibits you collected?
Ke bofeng bopaki bo eleng hore o ile wa bonka sebakeng.
There are so many exhibits that are listed here. You can group them if you want. You can summarize them if you want. But I want to get it from you. The exhibits that you collected.
Re kopa o hlahise bopaki ba hao bo bo bukeleditseng o ka bo sobukanya kapa wa bo etsa dikotwana empa go hlalosetse hore bopaki bo ke bo eleng hore ke nna ke bo bukeleditseng.
Exhibit 1 ke bullet jacket e ke fumaneng fatshe kitchening.
Exhibit 1 is a black jacket that I recovered at the kitchen on the floor.
Eyokuqala ke ubufakazi ke ngabuxosha khona laphayana kwakuyibullet jacket engayixosha phansi ekitchen.
Okay. Am I correct to say you collected the exhibits named referred to on page 2 of exhibit B up to the exhibits referred to page 15 of exhibit B?
Na ho jwalo hore bokeleditse bopaki bo fumanweng ho page 2 ho ya ho page 15 ya exhibit B. Page 2 fitela page 15 ya exhibit B. Page 15.
Sorry, page 2 and page 3. Page 2 and page 3.
Only those 2 pages.
Yeah, the exhibits that are listed there.
2 and 3.
Page 2 and page 3 of exhibit B.
Na ho jwalo hore bokeleditse bopaki bo hlahelang ho page 2 le page 3.
Do you see the list of those exhibits?
Ho to hona le list ya di exhibits tse fumanweng.
Ke bona ho page 4 mrena.
It reflects in page 4 in my bundle
Exhibit A.
of exhibit A.
We are now in exhibit B. The big one, this one.
Is page 2 I give you
Page numbers. The first page is this one, is the here. You see this one with the cover. Look at this. This is the first page, and then this is the second page, and then this is the page that I'm referring to. You see that one?
Okay, I'll just see some.
I understand.
Okay. What's the number of that page?
Ering le kapilo ho ya ka bopaki ba hao.
Bona ho ngotse 14 in fact.
It's written 14 at the bottom.
I think now let's use our common sense, Mr. Musi. The front page, you see it. The cover page, this one.
Yes.
A re jwale ha re latele ho ya ka tatelano ho ya ka front
Exclude it
page e.
because it's a cover page, okay?
Ra e tlola hobane ke cover page ya kere eo.
First page, you see this.
Re tla nka hore ena ke qaphela pele
So this one will be the second page.
ke qaphela bobedi le.
Okay. So do you confirm the exhibits listed on page 2 and page 3 of exhibit B? That those are the exhibits that were retrieved by you, recovered by you, handled by you.
Na o dumelana le hore ho ya ka exhibit A wena ko wena a compiletseng kapa a kolekileng bopaki bo hlahellang qaphela la bobedi la boraro.
Ke nnete.
That is correct.
Uyiqiniswa ukuthi la mapage amabili ke u2 no3 ke ibona bonke ke ubufakazi baxoshwa ke base buhlanganiswa yimini.
Let's just group all of them, all these exhibits once. When were they all entered into the exhibit register?
Bopaki bona kaofela jwalo ka bongotse ka tatellano jwalo ha re bo bokeleditse kaofela buile ba registerwa neng
Ka di 28 tsa October 2014 after 8 about 8 o'clock say.
all this evidence was registered on the 28th of October. It was in the morning around 8 or past 8.
Bonke ke lobufakazi bathi masebhala ke encwadini yobufakazi baku date 28 ngo8 emuva ko8 ekseni.
And when had they been recovered from the crime scene?
Bopaki bo jwalo ka bo hlahella mo ke bo bokeleditsweng neneng ho tloha neneng sebakeng sa ketsahalo.
Ke bo bokeleditsweng ka di 27 tsa October 2014 ho tloha ho tloha bosibu ha ne ke le crime scene le ho ya motshehare ha se re thusana le task team.
As the evidence which was collected on the 27th of October, the night of the 27th, throughout up until the second visit during the course of the day when I was joined by the task team.
Lobufakazi ke ubufakazi bahlanganiswa noma batholakala ke ebusuku zi-27 October 2014 wasemvulela ke kwilandelelayo uma ngabe sekufike ne-task team.
Forget about task team, Mr. Bassi. Just still forget. When? I mean time. When were these exhibits retrieved from the crime scene?
Is it where or when?
When? Time. When?
Nini. Now, hane ubukeletsa bopaki bo.
Ke tlhalosa nako e ke fitlhileng ka qala mosebetsi wa ka. Ho fihlela di-recordings tsa nako ho di-exhibit a ke na record ya tsona. Ke tshepa hore record ya tsona ke ne ke tsamaisa le di-covering minutes tse ne di feletsa di-exhibit ho ya forensic science laboratory.
I am referring to the time on which I arrived at the scene and started to collect the evidence at the scene of crime. I don't have individual time for individual exhibit except for what I wrote in the minutes that accompanied the exhibit.
Mina ke isikhathi engikhuluma ngaso isikhathi engafika ngaso ke hayi ukuthi ke ngabhala uma ngesikhathi esithile ngiqosho okuthile ngesikhathi esithile ngibhale okuthile ngaphandle nje kwesikhathi esikhona uma minutes noma kuma notes.
Mr. Monsieur, the problem is that you don't listen. You don't listen. I said, let us group all the exhibits. When were they all booked into the safe? When were they all recovered?
Di ka di 27 October 2014.
The all kaofela ha bopaki ke ba di 27 kaofela. All the evidence that was collected, it was collected on the 27th of October 2014.
Bonke ubufakazi batholakala ke nohlanganiswa ke zi 27 October 2014.
Ka di beya safe-nya ka mosebetsing ka tla ka di buka hoseng ka di beya safe-nya ka ofising ka tla ka di buka hoseng tsatsi le latelang.
After collection of all this evidence, I placed it or kept it in my safe, which was in my office, only to register or book it the following day in the morning.
Futhi ke ngase ngithatha ke lobufakazi ngibusa ke office lami ngagcina khona isayifini ngakhipha ngelanga elilandelayo.
When did you book them in that safe of yours? When did you book them in that personal safe?
I'm sorry to interrupt, my lord. Just want to put in record, my lord, that the criticism that the witness doesn't listen is absolutely not justified, because the witness was asked as to what time he recovered the exhibits from the scene, and he explained that even if he doesn't have the individual times for the exhibits, except for the times that he entered in the correspondence, and now he's accused of not listening. That's precisely what was asked for, and he responded to that.
I was saying that because the witness was not answering what I asked, and the objection was not raised at that particular time. Now I've moved on. We're on the other aspect of the evidence. It's just disturbing, my lord.
Well, I don't know if objections should be viewed as disturbances. But I take the point that it was not spot on in terms of its timing. I think we'll continue with this after lunch.
After lunch, thank you very much. The left. Okay. And then you said they were booked into the register when?
Ore bopaki bule ba bukiwa ka hare ho register neng
On the 28th.
On the 28th,
ukufaka kwama-exhibit nobufakazi kwi-register kwakungeyi-28.
And then when were they taken out to the forensic?
yaba bo bukiwa neneng out hore bo iswe forensic.
Bubukile ka di 30 tsa October 2014 hoseng.
It was booked out on the 30th of October in the morning.
Ukukhishwa kwabo ke bufakazi kwakungeyi-30 zika-October 2014 ekuseni.
Where were they kept, the exhibit? Where were they kept from 28 to 30?
Ho tloha ka di 28 ho fihlela ka di 30 bopaki bo bo ne bo ntse bo bolokiwe ho kae?
Nebole ka exhibit room Springs LCRC office.
Kae?
Springs LCRC office ka exhibit room.
The evidence was kept in the Springs
Springs LCRC exhibit room.
at Springs LCRC rooms.
Ubufakazi lo babugcinwe ke e-Springs kuma-ofisi ase-Springs.
So it means now they moved out from your personal safe, am I correct?
Ka nako eo bopaki bo bo ne bo se bontshitswe ka safe polokelong ya hao, safe ya hao.
Ho jwalo morenaka.
That is correct.
Bese bukhishiwe ke kwi-safe la ngangigcine khona.
And we don't know when you remove them from your personal safe.
Wait,
Sorry, my lord.
we seem to be having a problem with recording. There's a request that we adjourn for a while whilst they attend to the problem.
Exhibit B.
Is the machine already right?
I'm not sure, should we adjourn or should we proceed, my lord?
He's telling me that the machine is recording but it's breaking. So
Badly recorded.
whatever transcript shall come with gaps.
Then that is a risk, my lord. Can I suggest that we adjourn until tomorrow morning so that machine can be fixed?
Because of the breakdown of the recording machine, we have no alternative but to roll over this matter so as to proceed tomorrow.
Sinenkinga esinayo ke ngalo mshini lona oxosha konke okushiwayo la enkantolo. Lokho kucabanga ukuthi iqala-ke sesisele kusasa sizwa.
The matter is postponed with the accused in custody.
Ngizohlala-ke esitokisini kuze kube kusasa lapho siyabonga.
All rise and go to